Couples often fight in court over their children, but one Chicago couple has taken it to a new level. The mom wants to have their 8-year-old son circumcised. The dad does not. The child's mother says the procedure is medically necessary to prevent recurring painful inflammation she says the child has experienced during the past year. But the father says the boy's healthy, and circumcision is an unnecessary medical procedure that could cause him long-term physical and psychological harm. Joining me now is Alan Toback, attorney for the father, suing to block his son's circumcision, and Tracy Rizzo, attorney for the mother, who wants her son circumcised. We also have retired Dade County, Florida Circuit Court Judge Amy Dean. Tracy, without getting too graphic, don't get so medical on us, but tell us in general, why does your client want this procedure for her son?
My client wants this procedure to stop future infections or inflammations the child's been having. There's been swelling, discomfort, redness, and she wants her child to live a normal child life without having to worry about getting new infections every few months.
Does she have a medical report that supports that the circumcision is going to cure the problem that the boy is complaining of?
Yes, I mean, everybody agrees that if the child were to have the circumcision, that he would not get these infections again.
Alan, why is your client so opposed to this if his son's got this medical problem and this procedure, as Tracy said, everyone agrees is the answer?
Well, Susan, I don't think everyone agrees that this procedure is the answer. Even their own expert testified that as we sit here today, the child is perfectly healthy, the child has no inflammation, the child is fine.
But the inflammations recur, so by not doing it, it's going to come back. He may not have it today, but he'll have it tomorrow or next week.
There's no question they may recur. Their own experts never determine what the cause of the inflammation is. As we sit here today, they don't know whether it was poor hygiene, the child going frequently swimming, and this child is having a healthy, normal childhood, and in a year or two, he will outgrow the problem from which he currly suffers.
And do you have a medical report that says that?
No,
yes,
they don't.
I mean, our witnesses testified that the child has there's natural development, and as he gets older, these adhesions, this rubbing, this chafing will naturally go away.
But why is the dad so against it? What's the harm? If this is going to help the kid and he's going to have a healthier life, why can't this be the procedure put in place? What's the problem?
Well, they don't want to give the child an unnecessary surgical procedure. This isn't about neonatal circumcision. This is about circumcising a healthy 9-year-old and submitting him to surgery.
Is there any religious element to this at all?
Yes,
not as far as we're
is.
concerned.
Yes, there is.
Tracy's raised the issue for the first time yesterday in the press, but there's been very little, if any, testimony during the trial about the religious overtone of the case.
Let me go to Judge Dean.
It's just a red herring.
Judge,
let
me go to Judge Dean. Judge, have you ever seen a case like this?
Exact case like this, no, but I've certainly seen cases where medical care has been the issue between the parents, and I've had to make decisions about it. It doesn't matter what the procedure is, it's just that you have to make a decision on health care.
So how in the heck do you make a decision when presumably both parents love this child, mom wants what's best, dad wants what's best, mom says do the circumcision, dad says don't touch him? How does the judge decide?
Well, the judge has to listen to the parents insofar as what they've observed. But the judge also has to hear from a treating physician if one's been required, and that's what gave rise to all of this. The judge has to listen to any expert testimony and also look at what the experts are relying upon in order to make the decision. And then see if there are any other methods other than the extreme nature of surgery in order to right the problem.
Does this boy have any say?
Well, it's up to the judge whether the boy would have any say. Personally, I don't see the need of it. I did read somewhere that dad had him write some letters, which I thought was rather appalling. But in this particular situation, I don't think the judge needs the little boy. I think the judge might actually be able, from what I read, find some lesser means initially, and that is looking into whether there's some need for the boy's hygiene to be looked into. Maybe he should be kept out of the pool for a while. And frankly, if two adults who have a kid have to turn to somebody to make a decision about their child's health care, I think maybe it's time to have a guardian ad litem, and maybe the judge needs to have a status conference in 3 months or so, and then make a decision about surgery. But in any case, the judge should be making a decision certainly before August.
Tracy,
well,
Tracy, if there are perhaps less drastic ways to resolve this problem, would the mom be willing to give it a period of time and try these less intrusive, anything short of surgery?
This has been going on since May of '05. She's tried different medication for the child, but the child has these problems reoccurring, and so nothing is helping this child, and so the only option now is surgery. She's tried to keep the child from swimming. She's tried to keep the child, the hygiene care isn't an issue. I wish everyone stopped raising the issue of hygiene. This child is clean. The doctor testified the child has good hygiene. The mother testified as to how well the child cares for himself. That's not what's causing these infections.
Tracy, is this really,
Tracy,
Tracy,
this child...
Is this really about circumcision, or are these just two parents who would do anything to get back at each other using their child in the most horrible way in the middle?
Well, I could only speak for my client, and I certainly know that her only motive here is to help her child that she's seen in pain for over a year. She absolutely has no interest in fighting with her ex-husband. She's been the sole caretaker of this child, especially since the separation in 2000. This father hasn't gone to one doctor's appointment with this child since they've been separated in 2000. She just wants to care for her child like she's been doing for the past 6 years since the parties have been separated, and she certainly is not interested. The last thing she wants to do is fight, and that's why if you look in the media, my client hasn't been in the media at all, unlike Mr. Tobak's client, because she's not interested.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Judge Dean. This really is a tough one. Hope the parents can solve it, but if not, we're going to need the judge. Coming up, the moment